Sportscast. My name is Scott Harrigan. Today, we have a special guest, UVIC Hockey, Harry Shamhart. Harry, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing well. How was your summer? What'd you do?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah?
Yeah, made a few changes at the hockey team, so
Yeah?
stepped away from coaching, and now I'm just a general manager and got
Okay.
3 new young coaches, so
Yeah.
big changes there.
All right. Well, we'll definitely get into that. So first, let's delve into how long has the UVIC, the program, been there?
Since 05-06.
Okay. And did you win it that year?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What's good hockey to you? Like, what is, when you put a team together or you watch hockey, what is good grassroots hockey to you?
Well, good grassroots hockey to me is what CIS, youth sport has been. So I think university hockey across Canada has been the best hockey in our country.
Has been for a long time.
And, like the World Juniors.
Yeah.
That's hockey.
Yeah.
Right?
Allen Cup?
Allen Cup, well, always dreamed of winning the Allen Cup.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a lot of hockey on the South Island, correct? Like there's we've talked about this before where we don't know what to cheer for. Like there's like lots of junior. But when you're putting together your UVIC team, is that a benefit that there's so much hockey on the South Island? Or are you even looking at players from here or predominantly elsewhere?
Well, we recruited a lot of players from the island this year from local teams. One of the things that our new head coach, Alec Dillon, has done is really formed a better relationship with the junior B coaches.
Okay.
And we communicate at a really high level. So, for instance, this year at camp, we had, close to 60 players in camp.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them were younger players. So,
So for the people that don't know about UVIC hockey, when you say there's 60 players at camp, are those 60 all enrolled?
Yeah, all those 60 players are enrolled at the University of Victoria.
Okay.
So I'd say that's our biggest camp because previously, COVID kind of changed things. We kind of had to start over. So the league and our team, 2 steps backwards to go forwards again. So we didn't have a huge returning class. We kind of had to start over. So Alec did a lot of recruiting with teams, and we have some local players from teams, and not all those kids are in our program, obviously, but giving them opportunities. And then the junior B coaches were there at camp watching, and some of the younger players will get an opportunity to play locally and go to university. So
is that what happens, Harry, is that say they don't make, the 60 don't make the cut, can they... they're still enrolled at UVIC, but they can go play junior B, or I don't know. How does that work?
Well, in our league, so the British Columbia Intercollegiate Hockey League, we have an agreement where we can AP or affiliate players from junior B.
Oh.
So if you're enrolled in one course at university and you're playing junior B, you could practice with us, and if we had injuries or
is that like Canada-wide, you're affiliated with all the junior programs, or
if like for instance, if a player was playing for the Grand Forks Border Bruins, he was taking one class online, we could AP that kid, and if we were up in Kelowna and we needed him, he could play for us.
Okay, so essentially, Harry, I could go back to school and be your goalie.
You could, yeah.
Have you ever thought of me being your goalie?
No.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you mentioned we have some changes this year. How long you've been behind the bench for how many years at UVIC?
Since the start, so 05, long time.
Okay, right. And you decided that just a change was needed, or you wanted a new voice, or...
Well, it was a combination of a lot of things. I think COVID, kind of made things change, and for us, like, I've put a lot of energy into this team, and I want it to be sustainable.
Okay.
And, running a university hockey team by yourself takes a lot of time, and
right.
I basically, it was really difficult to just be a hockey coach. So I struggled to find people to support me to do the other stuff.
Right.
So Alec Dillon, who's a local boy, grew up here,
Yeah.
drafted by the LA Kings. He came to our program, and then he helped me coach, and he's been working really hard. So I thought it was time for him to get an opportunity to coach. The timing was right,
Nice.
and it gave me an opportunity to try to make this program sustainable. So
Okay.
really, that's why the move.
Right. Okay. And just keeping with that, you have Cole Pickup. Is that correct?
Cole Pickup has come on board, so he's back here in Victoria, and a lot of people know him from the Victoria Grizzlies. And,
Yeah.
him and Alec are.
Where did he go after? Like the Grizzlies? How far did he go?
He went to NCAA, and then I think he finished his NCAA at Concordia.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. And so, when you're putting this squad together, and like you do all the coaches, like hiring the coaches and stuff, do you still have a voice with the players, or do you just let you step away fully and completely?
Yeah. So for me right now, I'm the general manager, and I'm coach mentoring these guys. They're
Okay.
young coaches. So basically, I'm letting them make all the hockey decisions, and I'm supporting them, and
Right.
that's how it's working. So we're basically, we're a team, and we're pulling on the rope in the same direction, but they are making the hockey decisions.
So let me ask you this, and I'm not putting you on the spot, or maybe I am, I don't know, but I've noticed a massive trend in coaching with people of our age. We're roughly the same age, I would think,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And these kids just aren't listening to coaches of our era anymore. They just, I've heard it time and time and time again that, and you've seen it with Austin Matthews, where Babcock, who, I just don't respect the guy. I don't. And he had to fly to Arizona to go make up with Austin Matthews. Like, when have you ever heard of that? Like, what are you doing? And I've heard from other people that even in Vancouver, the Canucks, Travis Green goes, I have to email his agent or him. You can't really blast anybody. You can't call them out anymore. It's not like it used to be. So did you find that the way hockey is now and the way the kids are that there's this demographic change or dynamic where your coaching style doesn't necessarily fit with the youth?
Well, that's definitely, they have changed. So like calling them out or raising your voice or doesn't work with them. So they don't respond to that
At all, do they?
at all.
Right.
Not at all. So
Where did you see that coming, or was that something like I'm not condoning it. There is a fine line in today's sport coaching of any kind where what's that line where, if you screw up or you give up the puck or you do this and, it's a mistake, that's fine, that's great. But you're doing it 3-4 times, I'll sit you, or you're gonna miss some shifts, or what is that line? Like, do we even know, or is it just getting pushed more and more?
I think for us as coaches, and I talk to coaches across Western Canada, even young coaches that struggle with this topic every season. So, in junior hockey, you can either cut a player or trade a player. Well, in university hockey, like especially at UVIC, because it's,
They're going to school there.
They're going to school and they're playing hockey for you. And really, in the past, I've only carried a few extra players because just never really had that, enough players to make that competition for game day and stuff like that. So this year, one of the things that, myself and the coaching staff decided is we were going to try to carry extra players to create competition. And then...
So that has never changed.
Yeah.
Right.
That hasn't changed. And then the one thing we tried to do was pick good leadership. So you communicate to the leaders and the leaders communicate to them. And that's a way for us.
But that's been there. That's always the captain runs the room, and there's a DJ and there's this, and that's like I'm talking more specifically on in practice or training, or where you just you're not seeing the effort in that player. It just seems I wouldn't coach today.
Yeah.
Just simply because, not that I have a temper or anything like that. It's just like it just seems like you're up against the wall if you want to challenge somebody's effort or whatever, and there's like limited things you can say now. Like, is it not soft? Are we just soft? That's it?
No, I think the players, like, they're super talented. So, like, we're developing
More talented than the game?
Well, they're not more talented at the game, but they're talented at all levels. They have expectations on what they believe practice should look like, or games or systems. So they want all that in place. So
Right.
So they have high expectations. The coach has expectations. You know, we struggled the last few years as a team because we didn't have really enough players to create that competition. This year already, it's different.
Right.
So it's just about making or holding them accountable.
Do they want to be held accountable?
Oh, you know,
Like honestly,
they do.
So they want to be coached.
They want to be coached. And
Okay.
They want to be held accountable.
Because I'll tell you what, Harry, this is what I've this is the thing that used to bug me years and years and years ago, where they'd say, you know, that kid's uncoachable. And I coached and helped and mentored and did whatever throughout the years, and I have never seen a kid that you couldn't coach.
I agree with you.
Every kid was coachable. It's a different tack. I can't say that today.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm thinking that wherever we are, there's just some players that don't want to be coached. That it's just uncoachable. They're for whatever reason. I don't know. So have you noticed that? Like, I don't want to hammer this home, but there is a kind of entitlement now.
Yeah, there is. So we're getting players in our league out of the Western Hockey League, major, junior, you know, junior A, junior B, and, you know, even a few transfers into our league. And so they're coming with expectations, but the one thing different about university hockey is they're taking academics. And so some of these players, you know, other than some of the younger ones coming out of high school, but, you know, the 20-year-olds, the 21-year-olds are finishing their junior career, haven't been in school for a while. You know, they arrive at UVIC in September, and they're in 4 or 5 courses academically and playing hockey. It's a gigantic commitment. So to be able to balance that, you know, I've basically graduated since the beginning of the program, every single player. So take my hat off to them. Since 05, every player that's gone through your system has graduated? Every player.
Holy shit.
A couple players have left to go into the trades, but every player who's stayed has graduated.
Wow.
So
that's pretty impressive, no?
Well, it's really impressive.
Good for you, buddy. Yeah.
You know, so that's one thing that we take a lot of pride in and that I support. So, like, you got to realize these guys have a lot of pressure on them academically, and it is more important than hockey, and that is the culture.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah, that is the culture at UVIC. So, you know, if a player is behind or a player is struggling or a player needs some time off to get caught up, you know, I support that. So, you know, we would play short in the past because we didn't have enough players, but academics took priority.
Right.
So,
okay.
And like, you know.
So a little bit different than in the dub where you're getting taught on the fly during the season type thing.
Right.
You know, it's kind of, you know, if they have class, do the classes understand that practice is at 2?
No, we practice in the morning. So we practice at 7:10 in the morning.
So all the kids have the same classes and same timing and stuff like that? Well, I guess they're not kids.
Yeah, well, UVIC's a small university, really, you know, 24,000 students. You know, certain classes only provided in a term at a certain time, and if you're in that program, you have to take that class. So basically, over the years, you know, we've kind of come up with having morning practices, and then on Thursday evening, we have an evening practice. So we practice before school and we practice after school, and it seems to work really well.
Okay.
But those practices add up over a term because, you know, you got to realize they're putting 10, 12 hours into academics, and then they have to find time to play hockey and go to the gym. And, you know, over, from September to the Christmas break, that does add up. You can see it wearing on mentally and physically on the players. So trying to balance how much you push them, what you expect from them, is a balancing act.
Sure it is, yeah.
And it is, obviously I've been doing it for a while, so I can see it. I think my team has had success because the older players support the younger players. On road trips, guys that are good at certain things help the players. And really, I think one of the reasons that we've had so much success academically is that, you arrive from a junior A team, and you arrive at UVIC, and you have all this academic pressure, and the older guys are leading the way and helping them. And even my alumni guys support these guys academically. So,
does the league have a commissioner, or what's the
yeah.
How does it all work?
So we have an executive, and our executive is made up of representatives from all the teams.
And currently there are four
teams. Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we lost Selkirk College Saints.
Yeah. What happened there? Just money, or
COVID, right?
Oh, okay.
And obviously,
but they were a good team, weren't they?
Oh, they were an amazing
team,
an amazing program. And I don't think the executive from that team seen it coming, but the executive of Selkirk College felt like it was a lot of money, and COVID had, changed things for them, and they made a hard decision to fold the team.
Right.
And
so they can't go independently if they wanted to, or?
I guess they, I guess that's always a question to ask, but, when you played in Castlegar against Selkirk, 600, 700 fans, the rink was sold out.
Yeah.
It was crazy to play there. It was fun to play there. The community was behind them. And, I would have liked if they would have been given the opportunity to run their team like we do.
Right.
And be able to raise some money and support the team. Because I think the community up there is, Trail, Castlegar, Nelson, Grand Forks.
Kind of originated there, didn't it?
Beaver Valley, and why I started this league with two other guys was because I grew up in Nelson.
Yeah.
And Ernie Gare Sr., coached in the old Caribou League, and Selkirk had a team back then, and I always thought it was important to have a place for guys to go to school in BC and play hockey.
Didn't Trail Smoke Eaters win Canada Cup or something?
They won the World Championship.
The World Championship. Yeah. What? I think there was a guy. Wasn't the guy that owns Columbia Fuels, Harry?
Yeah,
I think he was on that team.
Yeah, and there was Tambellini's dad was on that team. Seth Martin was the goaltender. There were some amazing hockey players who played in that old Western Hockey League, right? So
that was,
Nelson Maple Leafs, Kimberley Dynamiters, Cranbrook Royals, the Trail Smoke Eaters.
Some history there,
History there, right?
Yeah.
Some amazing, all those guys would have played in the NHL if the NHL, was as big as it is there. It was amazing hockey to watch.
Yeah. That's what, like I said, I've said it on this podcast before, is the saturation on the South Island of the hockey, and I guess I'm kind of used to, where I grew up is in Galt, watching the Galt Hornets in the Senior A, and they won two or three Allen Cups, I think, and that's what you did on a Saturday night. Yeah. That's it. You went down to and just a little footnote here, the Shade Street Arena is the oldest operating rink in the world. And it was when I was a kid, and now I'm 55, and it's still going. And Howie Meeker played there, Gordie Howe played there. All the greats seem to go through. Bobby Orr, a pit stop over there. Gretzky, because Brantford Galt is like here to Duncan or something like that. Yeah. So, that hockey, a brand of hockey, and watching NHL in the 70s and that whole bit, there was an era of hockey that I didn't like, and when it got to the stick swinging bullshit, Bobby Clark breaking Buddy's leg, I thought that's Bush League, and yeah, we won and everything, but I didn't really like that brand of hockey. I liked when they dropped the gloves. I like, the hard hitting and stuff like that. But when you get into that Bush League bullshit, I'm not a fan of that at all, right?
Yeah, I agree with you.
But, going back to coaching and stuff, one of my guests coming up in the next couple of days is Matt Mccoy, and Matt played on the island here. and he tells his brother actually went through the Graham James system, and we don't know if he was a victim, but the coaches. What I'm trying to get at is because he had to get out of that system, he was then branded as a lazy hockey player, a this, a that. And when he phoned his brother to get him out of that situation, and they moved him to Vernon, I believe, and then went to Prince Albert under Mike Babcock, that Graham James was an asshole then. He wrecked a lot of players, yet other coaches listened to him, like Babcock. And when he went to Prince Albert, he goes, McCoy, you're lazy. All because of Graham James and down the list. You know, so that era of hockey to me, that should never have happened.
No, it shouldn't have.
That should never have happened, right?
Right.
And so, you know, can you describe what a coach, the effect a coach could have on a player?
Well, I always took my role as a coach, you know, as a mentor and an example for the guys that played for me. So, you know, like one of the things, I still stay in touch with the players from my first team.
Yes.
You know, and take a lot of pride in that. And, you know, I coached kids in baseball and minor hockey out here in the West Shore for years. And, you know, you got to take a lot of pride in that. And
it's more than the game is what I'm getting at. Like I might have been a roundabout way, but every year you seem to always have one kid that's either struggling in something, either a personal life, and that coach is one of the most trusted individuals in that person's life.
yes.
So I don't know if you can share some stories, but have you ever had an instance where you had to go above and beyond?
Oh, always. Yeah, every year something comes up where I have to, you know, you do things to support one of your players or multiple players, and, you know, but that's why you coach, right? So, you know, for the fans out there, you know, I'm a retired police officer. I became a police officer to help people. You know, I started coaching hockey when I was 15 years old back in Nelson, you know, and I've coached hockey my whole life. So it was always important for me to assist or support or help my players get, you know, make themselves better. One of the reasons we started this league was to provide hockey players an opportunity to go to school and play hockey and take a lot of pride in that. So,
right. Absolutely.
So, you know, like it's, you know, we've graduated well over 200 players at UVIC, and you know, one of the things when we're recruiting players to come to UVIC is we talk about how successful our alumni have been, and that all goes back to the education they get at UVIC.
Right.
And then in our league, right, you know, Simon Fraser, Selkirk College, now Vancouver Island University, and now, you know,
they got a pretty good team.
Well, they got a really good team.
Yeah.
Look at the support they get up in,
yeah.
you know, and so.
Well, that's the other thing too. That's what I'm saying is that, like, do you find it, because there's so much hockey here, do you find that you're losing out on support because there's just too much hockey on the South Island?
Yeah, well, our team isn't, there's a lot, you know, most of the hockey people, even in the greater Victoria area, don't even know there's a university hockey team.
That's shocking to me, by the way. I've like I said, I've said it before. It's probably, it is probably the best hockey on the island, on the South Island.
Oh, I agree with you.
And I've said it before.
Yeah, if I wasn't involved, if I wanted to watch hockey,
yes,
I'd go to watch university hockey.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It's the best hockey.
Yeah, I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
So, who do we got this year? Who are you excited about? Anybody? Is there anybody popping off? Like, is looking good? Like, of the boys, are they in charge of recruiting too, or you're 100% that guy?
No, Alec did a ton of work in the recruiting area. So, we have a young team and
Fast,
very fast, and you know, it'll be like the old days where we had the UVIC brand of hockey. We just, 4 lines coming at you
A wave.
for 3 periods, and there's no number 1 line. There's 4 lines. So, and then we have guys who won't be playing who could be playing. So it's a new team and a new culture, and it's going to be super exciting. And this year, starting off the season, traditionally Trinity Western University is playing U Sport now, and Simon Fraser University and UBC used to play the Captain's Cup. So after COVID, we kind of made some decisions as a league, and we've expanded the Captain's Cup to include us and Vancouver Island University. So basically, we'll all be playing an exhibition. So Trinity Western's coming here a week from tomorrow. And then we're going over to play UBC and Simon Fraser in the Captain's Cup. So it'll give hockey fans on the island an opportunity to watch U Sport team. In January, we're having the Tom Harris Cup. So it's the first time that UVIC will be hosting a tournament, university tournament hockey here on the island.
Who's Tom Harris?
So Tom Harris, cellular up in Nanaimo.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So between Vancouver Island University and UVIC, we used to play the Tom Harris Cup, which was 1 game, and whoever won the game got the cup. So we've expanded that this year to start a tournament, and hoping that it'll grow in the future. So you got to always start somewhere.
Right.
So with the Captain's Cup and with the Tom Harris Cup coming up in January, we're hoping to bring in some new fans and expose university hockey to people on the island.
Do you ever envision a Scott Harrigan Cup? Sure.
You want to get involved? You want to, we're always looking. One of the things that our league has never attracted a corporate sponsor, right?
Yeah, I've always kind of like, is there advertising?
Yeah.
It's like, are you allowed to use the boards? And
oh yeah, we at UVIC we have the boards.
Okay.
We sell advertising, and Reza Banab, a lot of people.
They don't know he's there.
He's there helping me, and without Reza, we wouldn't even have a program. So, it's been a lot of hard work on our part to keep it going.
Yeah.
But this league, I just wish people would understand how great the hockey.
It really is.
The opportunities that it provides.
It really is.
People, and we just need to get to the next level, right?
So, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Luke. Mm-hmm. You gotta tell me some Luke stuff and how important he was to your program and that whole and still today, right? Yeah. So can you give my buddy Luke a shout out here and tell me about how Luke, you got to meet him, how it because he's done a ton, right?
Oh, a ton. So obviously there's been different people throughout the years that have helped support this team, and Luke is definitely one of them. Luke was my scout. And how did I meet Luke? Luke was doing a management course for hockey, needed to do some interviews, phoned me up and met with him and went through that. And then obviously I'm always looking for people to help. So, I just phoned Luke and said, hey, do you want to support me in the recruiting and scouting? You've just finished a course. It'll give you some credibility and you'll be able to meet some people in the hockey community. And he jumped on board with 2 feet, and, he helped in every way, cooking meals on the road, financially, recruiting, just everything. I can't say enough about him.
No, he puts his heart and soul into everything he touches.
Everything.
He's a pretty incredible guy.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you have? You say you're starting over. Is this a new playbook? I mean, are we going with the same dump and chase? Is it what do we do? Like without giving out the trade secrets?
The young coaching staff has got their own playbook, and they're implementing that and teaching the players
the drills,
the plays, everything's all coming from them. Really, I have stepped back and letting them do what they need to do. And honestly, I've been watching practice and the development, and I'm pretty excited for Friday night, tomorrow night, when we play Vancouver Island University down here in an exhibition game. It'll, obviously it's not going to be our starting lineup, but we're going to be watching some players and stuff. And
can Cole, if say something happened, could Cole get in there?
Well, if he was taking a course, he could.
Take a Cole or a course, Cole.
Cole and Alec and Josh, they make a really good group. They all complement each other. They're all on the same side. They want to be successful.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're trying to do is get people to understand there's hockey at UVIC, that it's good hockey.
Yeah.
Alec has worked so hard on the recruiting, and
Is there anything online if the people can't get out in COVID or whatever?
on Hockey TV.
So it's can you give me it's just hockeytv.com?
Yeah, Hockey TV.
And is that free or what?
No, they charge per game.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can watch all the games in our league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And the website, you have your own Facebook page, your own website?
Yeah, we're just changing our team website.
Okay.
So there's nothing really going on there right now, but our Instagram page is up and going, and our team website will be changed in the next week here and up and going again.
Okay. All right. And I'll pull those links off and put them on the end.
Thanks.
Who's the captain? Have you picked one?
Yeah, Kenny Britton.
Okay. Tell me about him.
So Kenny Britton is from Ontario. Hockey fans here will know him from the Victoria Cougars. Came to UVic studying kinesiology. He's worked really, really hard over the years. He's a great leader. So in the summertime, that was one of the decisions we made, is that we would name our leaders in the summer.
Yeah.
So that they could reach out to the new players, talk to all the players, that kind of stuff. And I think it's really worked. And the captains and the captain Kenny and the assistant captains are all on the same page.
Who are they?
Hard. So we got Brandon Voss and Matt Hermary and Keegan Durant, another West Shore boy who played for the West Shore Wolves.
Okay.
Our assistant captains, and they're all great leaders. We have guys in the dressing room that were captains of their junior A teams, junior B teams. So there is a lot of leaders in that dressing room. I can tell you from what I see already, the culture of our team is different than it has been the last few years. So I'm pretty excited to see that.
Wow, that's cool, Harry. Yeah. How many players are you carrying?
Well, right now we got 32 players.
Okay.
So
and what are you allowed to?
Yeah, we can have 35 players.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. So we're gonna carry more players than we ever have. It'll be hard for Alec and the coaching staff to put them in the lineup, but this year, because of COVID, we're playing fewer games.
Right.
So we'll have to go with the players that deserve to be there, and that's all a hockey decision. And I'm not going to step in. That's for them to decide who's going to be in the lineup.
What's a hockey hotbed right now? Is it still Ontario? Is the other provinces closing? Like, the reason I ask that is I know a lot of my buddies are from Newfoundland, and some of the best athletes come out of that province.
Yeah, one of our assistant captains, Matt Hermary, is from the Lower Mainland, but he played back east, and he played in front of 6,000 and 7,000 fans. So hockey back there is still, a major part of life. And people in BC, they talk about the BC Hockey League, and the BC Hockey League's always trying to have their players go down to play NCAA, but one thing people have to understand is that, hockey has become pay to play, right? So a lot of these players in the BC Hockey League in the old days, they didn't pay to play. You're you're paying, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to play junior A hockey, and you're staying with a billet and you're trying to go to NCAA school, and people have to realize that the United States is developing their own hockey players, and there's less and less opportunity for Canadian players to go down there and play and be developed.
Right.
So I always say, you got to look at U Sport or the ACAC or the BCIHL.
So it's not pay to play in BCIHL?
Yeah, no. Our team, we aren't funded by the university, so that there's no scholarships. The players have to pay to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your take on hockey schools and academies and stuff like that? Like, just give me your opinion.
Well, me personally, I'm not a big supporter of the academies.
Yeah.
So,
me either.
You pay a lot of money to go to an academy.
A ton of money. And then minor hockey has suffered from that. And I honestly think it was the wrong direction. It's more of the American style. It's a money making. Yeah, it is a bank machine.
So what happens to the players that can't afford to go to a hockey academy and they're playing minor hockey? Are they still being developed to the point they should be, to be provided opportunities to move forward? And really, that's girls hockey and male and female hockey.
Yeah.
It's both super important in this
Yeah.
country. So, you look at the different minor hockey systems. The West Shore is okay because there's a lot of young people living out here, but some of the other associations are suffering, and you got major and minor midget, major bantam, and it's just like, I still believe in the minor hockey system. I always thought,
It is important.
it is important, and
Right.
I kind of think it got left on the back burner and thrown to the wolves.
It's not what happened to House League?
Yeah,
Is it a thing?
uh,
Fuck, like what happened to House League? Where did it go?
yeah, exactly. Right? Where did it go?
I don't know.
Yeah, and then these hockey.
But that was fun. That was my most fun playing hockey in my life was House League.
Yeah,
And, when it got Bantam Midget, I started hating the game.
yeah,
I didn't like it anymore.
yeah. No, and I think, I always think hockey as a lifetime sport. So the lessons that you learn in hockey, win and lose, the controversy, all that kind of stuff makes you, a better person. So if you're not provided those opportunities to play team sports, and I don't even care if it's hockey, soccer, lacrosse.
Play multiple sports. I can't stress enough how important it is to play multiple sports.
Yeah. And the lessons you learn from that you take into your life.
100%. And some of the best friends you'll ever have. I still, to this day, have buddies that I played Pee-wee with.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
I just
Facebook helped with that, but still, I haven't seen him in 40 years, but still.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's just cool to connect.
Yeah.
Figure skating. It was probably the biggest attribute to my strength in skating was figure skating. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Like, I didn't play hockey out here, but
I grew up in Nelson, so we had,
outdoor,
the figure skaters were on the ice before us most of the time.
chewing up the ice.
Well, yeah.
I know, but that was all.
I was fortunate enough to grow up in Nelson. There was lots of ex-pros going to university, going to the old Notre Dame University. A lot of them became teachers. A lot of them stayed in the community, and most of them were coaches. Take example, Bill McDonnell, his wife Ann McDonnell was a figure skating instructor. From a young age, she was on the ice teaching us how to skate.
So for the people that don't know,
Yeah.
for the people that maybe go, what? It's underestimated how powerful two things are. Power skating, that's all we had growing up. Skating races at school, what happened to that? That went well with House League, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And figure skating. So do you concur that figure skating is a massive part if you want to play hockey? If you want to be a good skater, edges the whole bit, strength?
Yeah, so take example, David Roy in Kelowna, Edge of Excellence. That was something he took up, and people used to ask me what hockey school should you go to. Now I always say there because the focus was skating. It wasn't hockey.
No.
The focus was edges. Pro hockey players go there to learn how to skate.
Absolutely.
There's different skating instructors in every community that teach hockey players.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was hard because obviously some parents can't afford that extra. But it was important for the development of young hockey players to become, because skating's everything. And
it's everything. And it's not the dangle, the this, the that. Yeah, all that for sure.
Yeah.
But like if you watched Battle of the Blades, do you see the NHL struggling?
Yeah.
There's a hint and a half right there. Just how important that the ability and the edges and the strength and the ankle strength and the calf strength and the whole bit. That'll tell you right there where you should put your kid. Save yourself some money. Put your kid in power skating and figure skating.
Yeah.
And you watch the benefit.
Yeah. Obviously you can see it even in our community, how many people are making a living from coaching hockey.
I know. When did that start?
Yeah.
Hockey schools.
Hockey academies, everything. Skating coaches is gold. So there's different ones in our community that are all good. But I always thought that's important. Greg Adams had a successful career in the NHL. He took figure skating when he was young. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's different players in the NHL that have done that.
100%.
And taken that forward. And, skating's everything. I totally believe this. I have players on my team over the years that, in the old days, they're just better skaters than like a lot of the players, and
you know a good skater. Know 2 strides in, boom, gone.
Hey, I grew up in the Kootenays when Ray Ferraro and Greg Adams and Steve Bozak were all, amazing young hockey players, and they all went to the, Patty Price and Danny Gare and,
Cliff Ronning
I watched when I was going to UBC. My wife and I used to go to the games in the old New West Barn to watch Cliff Ronning play. I watched him a couple of years back. I don't know, 5 years ago. I think they played the Victoria Cougars. And the Cougars were up 8-1, and it was something goofy. Yeah. And Ronning said, "Fuck this." Yeah. And these junior A guys looking like they were 8-year-olds at a scrimmage birthday party on the rink. Like he when he turned it on, and I think he's got to be our age. Yeah. He's got to be 55. And I don't know. I have no idea. But I coach UVIC with Jeff Courtnall. He helped me out because I had.
Oh yeah,
I had his son Adam on my team.
Okay. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. When Greg Adams lived in our community and he used to go skate down at Bear Mountain.
Yeah.
I grew up with Greg and Nelson.
They haven't. These boys don't lose it.
I watched him skate one day. He was on the ice by himself, down at the Q Center, and he was, skating, and I'm like, he's probably 40 years old then, and it was like I was just marveled at the speed and the technique,
the sound. Do you know, Harry, that, and you would know this, in baseball when that what was that movie where they went to India to get the pitchers or something, and the scout never lifted his head until he heard the sound of the mitt.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you hear the sound of the blade and that power, that sound it makes when they're taking their strides. It's that same kind of thing. It's like, whoa, you're tuned in right away.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Like it's funny now when I walk into a rink, I can remember when I was coaching little kids down at Wandafuka here, and Brad Palmer, who's an ex-pro hockey player.
Hardest shot, too.
He had a son the same age as my oldest son, and there was a whole group of young boys on the ice, and, it included Cody Carlson and...
Yeah.
And...
He's still playing, isn't he?
He's the assistant coach at Kerry Park now.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, Tyson Berry and all these guys.
Yeah.
And Brad didn't know who they were. He knew who their dads were.
Yeah.
On the ice, and... Literally, I remember standing beside him, and he walked in the rink, and he went, "Oh, that guy's going to play hockey. That guy's going to play hockey."
Oh, he knows, right? Yeah, you know.
Right?
Yeah. And that's my adage. That's what I say. If you're good enough, they will find you.
Absolutely.
That has never.
But you still need the opportunity.
Oh yeah.
And you still need to find that right coach who believes in you.
100%.
Absolutely.
Is it exposure now? And that's just what it is. Like, do
you remember, like, you were here when the Bantam tournament was held at the Racket Club, and the place was just packed with scouts?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore because they're all at the academy, watching the academy kids. And yeah, there's the odd kid that comes out of minor hockey, but not like it used to be.
Not even close.
And so you need the coaching, you need the development, you need the coach that believes in you. There's so many things. You need to be in the right place at the right time.
Sure.
There's a lot of young players in Canada who are never given those opportunities, and obviously that goes around the world because it's just so many different things that people say that like if you're good enough they'll find you. You know what?
Is that gone now?
I believe they miss kids. Like
there's always.
Yeah, I think our league is a prime example of that. There's kids who are career junior B hockey players. And then they come into our league, and our league's a mixture of major junior, junior A, junior B, and all of a sudden this junior B kid is like the best player in the league.
Yeah.
And never got an opportunity to play pro hockey or go to pro camp.
Yeah.
And, we have players in our league who are going pro.
Yeah.
Pro in Europe. One of the SFU players made it to the American League.
And that's the thing, too. I don't think people realize when you have a saturation of hockey, you have to get players somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily the best players. If they shortened the league or combined or amalgamated the league, say what BCHL and VIJHL, I don't know, you would get a better talent to play again. Okay, so if you're not, you mentioned competing on your own team. You're going to have that atmosphere around. That's great. But if the rest of the league is not competitive, it doesn't really develop the team you got.
Right.
Right. So I think it's important to have, sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Right. And to maybe shorten it up, but just because your kid plays junior A, is it really that, like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't see it in other provinces where a community this size per capita has that many hockey teams.
Yeah, no, we've talked about that before, and it's just different here. You have the Royals and the Grizzlies, and then all the junior B teams.
On top of that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of the major midget team. There's a lot of hockey here.
There's a lot of hockey.
And hockey academies and stuff. So
now, how many players? I'm not knocking academies, I don't think. Well, maybe I am. I don't know. But is there any, do you know, have we produced any that's gone anywhere?
Yeah, there's different players that have gone to different academies.
Like scholarships and stuff?
So a racket club kid who went to Yale Academy.
Okay, cool.
And he's playing for the Royals, right? There's an example of a local boy who went to a really good academy with a good coach.
But isn't the academy more to go to pro? Isn't that the idea?
I think you have to get through junior A or maybe
that's what I mean.
Get to pro. So the academy's to develop you. Right?
Okay.
And then hopefully you're a good enough player, or you develop enough to get an opportunity to play junior, major junior, and then hopefully you're good enough to get recognized by a scout and a different organization to get an opportunity to play pro, right?
Yeah.
And each one of those levels is a different level and a different step, and not everybody's successful. We all know that. And then and you got to look at the world. The world's developing hockey players everywhere. So the competition for those few jobs is even more than it ever has been.
Right.
So, people talk about the old NHL and everything like that, but in the old days, there wasn't as many countries developing players as there are now. And every country does a little bit different and, develops their players differently. So there's, all kinds of, development being done and different ways of it's being done, and players are trying their hardest to get to the NHL and play at an elite level.
That is the ultimate, clearly, right?
Ultimate.
I mean,
absolutely.
the ultimate is to make the money in the NHL. Like, you could say I'm going to the academy to get a scholarship, but are you? Like, are you? Is that really what you're going for? I don't think so.
I think, hey, every hockey player's dream.
Sure it is.
Is to watch, I don't know if
100%.
We watched Hockey Night in Canada, and our dream was to be on Hockey Night in Canada.
100%.
Right? 100%.
100%.
So hopefully.
Right. Second, plan B is an education.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That's plan B. There's no plan C.
No.
Europe.
Yeah.
I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Or
and that's still
maybe that's plan B and C is, I don't know. But
I mean, we have players that have gone to play in the first division in the UK and got their education paid for, gone to law school, made some good money.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So much opportunity.
But that's not what you're thinking about at 18.
No,
I'm going to be a lawyer.
No.
No.
You want to be in the NFL.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So what is your, what do you have a favorite way of getting there? Like, is it, okay, go play midget, get into the draft, get picked up by a junior A team, and then hopefully get scouted by one of the scouts, or play in the CHL, or forego all of that and go scholarship where you get more ice time and more of the, like, what is your favorite route? What would you say to parents? This is the route you should go.
So I think it's different for every player. It's an individual route. So like some of my friends who, and hockey players, I just think it's different for everybody. Some players are geared academically. So if you're geared academically, then you need to get good grades and play junior A and maybe get a scholarship down south and be developed and have a longer opportunity to develop and be seen. Some players who aren't geared academically maybe are going into the trades and stuff like that. Major junior might be a route for them, because when they finish, the Western Hockey League gives you an opportunity to go to school and stuff like that. And, I've had a few of those players, and it's a great opportunity for them. So I think the route's different, but I think parents need to educate themselves better. So I think they need to understand.
How so?
Well, they need to really understand what that means. So I go back to what Don Cherry always used to say on TV was, you need to play. So if you're the fourth or fifth guy on a major junior team and you're not playing,
why?
And why?
Why are you there?
Why are you there? Go and play junior A and have fun and develop.
Yeah,
And that is, you know what? That's what I believe. I believe you're only young once.
Have we got away from development, though? Is it about, like, what's the difference between winning and developing? There is.
Yeah. I think a lot of people believe that the academies is all about development. But you're paying a lot of money for that.
Yes.
So like, take for instance, like all the different minor hockey systems in Victoria. How about if you amalgamated and had one minor hockey system?
I have been saying that for years.
And you had...
But how dare I? I'm not from here.
Yeah. And you had one midget A team, one Bantam A team, one Pee-wee A team.
Yes.
And then you had, then you had a Pee-wee B1 team and a B2 team. And then you had house hockey, right? Now you got a bunch of kids playing hockey, having fun, playing at the level they should be playing at. The minor hockey...
No pressure, enjoying it,
having fun, right? And not having to travel great distances to play in tournaments.
100%.
And then the A team will be at a level they can compete against the academy teams, and be scouted in those opportunities. And that's what I believe in. Play at the level that you should play at.
Exactly.
Play hockey.
Yeah.
And then play till you're 20. I've had players come at 17 and 18 years old from midgets and make my team.
Yeah.
And then go to play pro.
Yeah.
So, it's an individual decision. Sometimes academics is more important to the individual player and to the family.
Yeah.
And then sometimes hockey is important until they're 20 years old. And then it's like, oh, now you got to go to school. So I think one of the great things about the BCIHL is you can go to trade school and you can go to an academic school and play hockey.
Yeah, at the same time.
That's an amazing opportunity.
It is.
Right?
It is.
So I'm pretty proud of that. I think all the guys in our league, we've worked really hard.
Well, at that point, too, those kids, I keep calling them kids. They're probably not kids, are they? Jesus, Murphy. But at that point, they know they've made their decision. It's not like that dream of making it to the NHL. That isn't as forefront as it was 4 years before that. Right? They still would love to. It's still in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's plan B.
It is plan B.
It's plan B now.
Yeah.
So, once you have a direction and you can focus on that, that task or whatever, life just becomes a little easier and then you play better. And see, I this is what I believe here. I believe there are kids, and not just hockey, in every sport, who doesn't want to play.
Oh, hey.
Does not want to fucking play.
Hey, Scott, even in this camp, we had players come to the camp, and then at the end of the camp decide, I don't want to play hockey anymore.
Yeah.
And then...
But they're old enough to make that decision.
They are. Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. Yeah. Like, I do... worry, and this is I've seen it when I was playing even.
Yeah.
Like I'm one. That's why I can talk about it. I didn't want to let the coach down. Didn't want to let my buddies down.
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't want to fucking be. I did not want to be there.
Yeah.
So how do you know? Like so much has changed over the years, and are we allowed today? Like, is there too much pressure from parents, coaches, in all sports, or because if we're gonna go on air right now and say there's kids out there that don't want to play, every parent listening to this is going, well, it ain't my kid.
Yeah.
But it might be.
Yeah. I don't, Scott. I honestly don't think that's changed over time.
It hasn't.
It hasn't. I think there's parents who, want that dream for their kids and want them to play sport. And,
because the kid ain't paying that academy with his paper route money.
No. So it's, there's no change there. That's a pressure that I think the youth of today, obviously, it's a different world. And I think it's a tougher world. So, there's all kinds of pressure. There's academic pressure. There's the social media pressure. There's just so much coming at them. So, I just think it's a tougher time.
You know, one of the things I want to do with this podcast is have people on that have actually made it, and then hopefully, not hopefully, they'll be sharing their stories on careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because you may just get that, and then it's, concussions and this and blah, blah, blah. There's a whole array of different problems the higher you go, right? And some people just aren't cut out at that level, let alone get thrust into, now you're sitting there with a couple $1 million and... whatever, I don't know, but there's just like I already know my guests coming up and talking about it, and it's like Grant Jennings and the Kites and all that stuff, and it's like, careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because do you think this is like, yeah, it's a good life, I'm glad I did it, 2 Stanley Cups, but my head's mush.
Yeah. No, hey, and that's why I always say it. Parents need to educate themselves and make decisions and try to make the right decision. I think, parents try to do that, but sometimes,
But it's not the be-all to end-all if you don't, and sometimes it's a bloody blessing that you didn't.
Yeah, well, obviously we all know today because of media and social media and stuff like that, mental health and concussions and injuries and stuff really affect athletes in all sports.
100%.
Right? So... there comes a time, and I've had to make that decision with players on my team where they've been concussed, and it's like, you know what, you need to stop playing hockey. You're going to school, your brain's more important.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Scott, you and I, when I was young, playing junior hockey.
You got your bell rung. Seeing stars, big deal.
Big deal.
Who gives a shit?
But nobody
Get up.
Nobody knew what a concussion was, and
get up, you pussy.
Yeah.
But really,
no,
seriously.
No. So, I always say, hey, I didn't know anybody who had a concussion because I really honestly didn't. So
we didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. So now we do know. So there's no excuse. And, players are being injured all the time in all different sports. And we have a responsibility to make hard decisions. And parents have a hard decision to make sometimes too, where they have to tell their child or their athlete, like, you know what, you need to take care of yourself. You can't participate anymore in this sport. Right?
So is any of that to do that the fighting is being taken out of hockey? Because you had to be accountable. What's your take on fighting in hockey?
Well, me personally,
as a fan and as a coach, there's two different, I would imagine.
So I'm a purist hockey, so that's why I like University Hockey, because it really should be a pure game.
Do they drop the gloves?
You're allowed to fight, but you're immediately suspended. So
for how long?
Your first fight, it's a game.
Oh.
And then your second fight is 2 games, and your third fight it's more, and then...
So you get into a fight, you're kicked out of the game and a game?
And a game. So and that's because of concussions. We know. So there's no excuse for it. So it's like I want to see hockey be played, I want to see the talented players play now. So
you believe that fighting should be taken out of hockey?
I do.
Because I'm shocked by that. But okay, fair dues.
Concussions.
Okay.
Right? And it only takes one punch and or one, you punch somebody and they fall to the ice and hit their head, and that could affect them for the rest of their lives.
Sure.
So for me, there's no excuse to be able to continue that. So I'd rather see players. Hockey's already a sport where you can be injured, and because it's so fast. And the players are so big and they're so strong, and at every level.
But do you not think that if there is no accountability on that ice, as the game changed that much, where that there's no accountability on it, so you get players going around hacking you, high sticking,
and that's up to the officials to do their job, and it's up for a coach to say, hey, look, you can't play on my team because you're playing that way. And I really believe that now.
Okay, fair dues. Yeah, I'm shocked by that answer here. Sorry.
No, hey, hockey's changed, and we're all more educated now.
Are you going to tell me off air? You didn't mean
no,
that.
No, not at all. I just really think the health of athletes is more important than the game.
Well, you would see it.
And honestly,
I coach from the couch, clearly.
Yeah. I've been on the bench, and watched kids be injured and have to make those decisions and what it's done to them. And Yeah.
See, I wasn't a fan, like I said earlier in the podcast, I wasn't a fan of that. There was a chunk in the 70s, 80s where the Broad Street Bullies, I just thought they made a mockery of the game and bullshit. I really did. Yeah, I was, whatever, beat him in the stand, beat him in the this, beat him in that, Milbury jumping in the stand. He's an idiot, too.
No,
he's a dick.
But
But that wasn't hockey.
No.
Right, but you would see a Ty Domi fight or a Wendell Clark and those guys back in the day, and the Stan Jonathans, and I mean those boys were chucking them, and
but ask them now.
Oh
how
yeah,
they feel, right, and mental health issues caused from concussions. Being that player every night. Being expected to do that.
And it is because the BLACs and the those guys that had issues after and football play. I get that. I do get that.
There'll be old time hockey players who are my age. You think I'm crazy, but I've been coaching at the university.
You've seen
level,
it enough, yeah.
I've seen it enough, and I really believe the game needs to change. And one of the things when I'm watching the NHL and players are taking advantage of a player, like when they deliberately hurt a player, and the NHL really does nothing about it. Every single young hockey player in Canada and around the world is watching those games. And
Washington, New York series. The Rangers looked like a bunch of 11-year-olds getting manhandled by Wilson and all the boys. And I guarantee you, New York Rangers are going to have some tough guys in their squad coming out this year in another week or two.
Yeah,
you watch.
Yeah.
So it hasn't changed that much. Like if you're going to have guys going around the ice, running guys, and the Tom Wilsons and all this other shit, you got no choice but to call up some big boys.
No, I agree with you. But is that the responsible thing to do? Is that the right thing to do? And I honestly believe now. That part of hockey needs to be taken out of the game.
Here's the thing: if
the hits to the head on purpose, trying to injure a player
100%, like the one-sided fights. But if the NHL had have suspended Tom Wilson for even one game, when he hit that guy, remember he grabbed his head and put it on the ice. Yeah. If he would have one game, that shit that went down afterwards wouldn't have happened.
Right, you're 100% right.
So. But if they're not going to police it, then the boys are going to police themselves.
Exactly. And you can't put it on the officials. You put it on the NHL for not doing their job.
100%.
And honestly, there are smaller athletes playing the NHL now there's ever been because, they got to the game to a certain point.
Now they can't. Now they're drafting guys 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah. And they're contributing at a high level.
Sure.
But
this is
But you get to the playoffs and everything changes.
Thank you. So, Mitch Marner, $11 million. Oh, one of the greatest players. Put him in a playoff game. I bet you the guys just will go across the ice and go, I'm going to rip your head off. Because he skates around like he's playing with his dad in men's league, and he's just like cringing. And I'm disgusted by it. So I've always said, too, that how do you scout a player? Do you scout him during the year? Because if you scout him during the year, I still don't think he's worth $11 million, but he's a much different player. Or do the scouts go to a playoff game and go, let's see how he performs now?
Yeah.
Is that how they?
Which coach in the NHL wouldn't want Wilson on their team in the playoffs?
Oh,
do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Who didn't want Ty Domi on their team?
Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
Guys like
Stan Jonathan, the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
So.
But he scored goals.
Yeah, but
right, those guys did score. Like Probert, he had a couple years where he, I don't even know, but 30 goals. I don't know, no idea.
So honestly, I think the responsibility is of the better leagues to set the example, and then everybody will follow. And honestly, hockey needs to change all the way, not part way. It needs to change. We need to take. So then
you have to take hitting out then.
No, you don't need to take hitting out. You can hit, and it's clean. But when you're taking somebody's head off on purpose, right? That's not part of the game.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying here. So my point is this: every time you see a good open ice hit in hockey, there's a fight that follows.
Yeah,
and that's because I believe that. You've taken the fighting out of it, So you're like, there was, I don't know, code or whatever you want to call it, but if you're made accountable, you're not going to, if that's an open ice hit, that's respected. But it seems to me that this little guy is running up on this big guy, and all of a sudden, whatever. But don't you ever notice, though, that every hit is followed by a fight?
Well, every big hit now is.
That's what I mean.
There's something, but it's because it's still allowed. So if you take, like, if you would have suspended Wilson for the rest of the playoffs, right? That sends a message that this kind of behavior and that kind of injury isn't tolerated anymore, right? How many NHL hockey?
Oh, see, but there's the other issue, because it's one player gets this and the other. Like, there was guys that are getting 4 or 5 game suspensions.
Yeah.
Nazem Kadri.
Yeah,
way less than what Tom Wilson did.
Yeah.
And you got that. Who's that guy that's running it? Who's the big?
Yeah.
And he's a big Peros.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you heard in the last couple of years, you never know what you're going to get with this guy.
No. So it's just how I think the game has to change because of the education we have on injuries.
I think you can't take fighting out of the game of hockey. I just don't think so. I think it's an integral part of the game. It's stage fights. Yeah, get rid of all that nonsense. Mm-hmm. That to me drives me nuts.
Do I think it's ever going to happen? No, but I honestly think that the game could get cleaned up to a point where fighting, like real fighting in hockey, is going to be curtailed because injuries, like deliberate injuries, deliberate headshots, aren't going to be accepted as part of the game. So if you go to end a guy's career, and every one of those hits to the head could end a player's career, and the NHL does nothing about it really, it's going to continue.
Yeah.
But if the NHL got serious about it and suspended players for those types of injuries to other players,
right,
then that would filter down all the way down in the hockey world. So, like, I believe they have a responsibility to protect their athletes. And I don't think they're doing a good enough job because there's still too many players being injured on purpose. And it can't happen anymore. You have to take that out of the game.
Right.
And it's...
No, I get that. I get that. Yeah. But there was a time where the cheap shots didn't happen and the high sticking
because Stan Jonathan was on the other bench.
That's what I mean. Right?
So, and you didn't have a face mask
there.
Right?
So yeah, there was not a lot of intent to hurt somebody. I still see hits from behind.
Yes, you do.
And nothing.
No, I agree with you.
So go out there and send a message to Buddy and go, touch him again.
Yeah, you don't want to be in my living room and I'm watching a game and a player literally, injures another player on purpose because there's no need.
There's no need. It's a bullshit. That's bush.
So and it happens all the time, and
it does happen all the time.
And like you're a believer that you have to have that guy on the bench for that reason. I'm a believer that, like, I'm a coach, and if I had a player like that and he did that, in our league, because we're small enough and we talk to each other, we kind of deal with that.
Right.
So if a player is out of control and he does something like that, he's going to deal the consequences from Hockey Canada and the suspensions.
Yeah.
But he's also going to have to deal with the coach.
Right.
And the league.
So I'm not like, I don't like dirty, like I said, like I even said earlier that Bobby Clark two-hander.
Yeah.
I was disgusted. I'm Canadian, and it's just like, come on, man, you're better than that.
When you're watching Team Canada play in the World Juniors, and you're watching
the women last week,
that was amazing.
Now, how good was that, right?
Oh, it was so good.
Like, and the way they the 5-1 victory before that, but just watching that game, I like. Here we go. Like, this is good hockey. It reminded me of 2010, Sidney Crosby and Haley Wickenheiser when the Americans stepped on the flag, and she's like, the passion. That was good hockey, right?
Oh, it was amazing hockey to watch, and it's fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of hockey that I enjoy watching, and that's the kind of hockey.
But that got a little chippy. That was getting, the game before that. Didn't they drop the gloves before that?
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of passion in that game.
Sure there is.
And hockey is that.
It's needed.
It's a passion. Like, hockey is a passionate game, but you can't cross the line. Right?
No, and there is a fine line, and it does have to be policed, but. Harry, listen, we're going to have to wrap this up here, buddy. I could talk to you all day, and I have before I had some of our conversations. Yeah. But listen, give me some time. When's your first game and exhibition and all that?
Okay.
Give us a shout out there.
We're playing tonight or Friday night at Ian Stewart Complex against Vancouver Island University.
Okay.
It's our first
Little
exhibition.
rival?
Yeah, rival. Really good new team in the league, a couple of years. They've done an amazing job up in Nanaimo, building the program and bringing in players. And so, kudos to Vancouver Island University and to, the people that run that program have done an amazing job.
Yeah.
And then we're going up there on Saturday night. We're going up to Nanaimo to play them in an exhibition game.
Nice.
So that's exciting. And I think for our players, because they haven't played hockey in, a year and a half, it's going to be an exciting weekend because they're finally getting their first hockey game. And then, a week from this Friday, Trinity Western University is coming to town to play us. And they're a great program and have made the jump from our league up to U Sport.
Perfect.
So it'll give us something to measure ourselves against as
Perfect.
a league and as a team. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, folks, that's a wrap here with another edition of Raw Sportscast. My guest today was Harry Shamhart from UVIC. If you've never gone to a UVIC hockey game, I know I sound like a parrot, and I've said this on pretty much every podcast I've done with hockey. It is wildly entertaining. It's really good hockey. If you're a traditionalist, you will like it. Harry, I want to thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you, sir.
And good luck in the upcoming year, and keep us notified of what's going on. And we'll definitely chat again and maybe have the coaches on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's it for Raw Sportscast. My name is Scott Harrigan. Take care.